Well, of course, when COVID came, the airlines had to reduce costs very quickly. So a lot of them shed big numbers of staff, thousands of people per group, um, because the demand was gone overnight. And of course, a lot of the European carriers received bailouts, so support from their governments. And so they were also forced to reduce costs. Then you saw a tremendous ramp up, second half of 22 and especially 2023. The industry grew tremendously, but there was a shortage of staff. So I also experienced this personally when I was at Nordica in 2023. You see that the industry grew so fast that operations had to be ramped up. So people were hiring staff left, right, and center. And because of the inherent high capital training costs associated with pilots, a lot of airlines try to maintain as many pilots as they could, although also pilots were furloughed or sent on early retirement. But especially the staff that was deemed, I would say, more easy to get was let go, but then had to be rehired. To come back to what I tried to say in 2023, and you saw that incidents, for instance, in ground handling on the ramp grew tremendously because you had this big group of new, unexperienced ground handling staff members that had to be rehired. And of course, during COVID, a lot of people that were in those jobs experienced that they could also make a living in a completely different industry with less shift work. I mean, not having to get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning to start a shift at 6 a.m. or earlier, or do an overnight graveyard shift that people in hangars
or drone all the way from New York, leaving at midnight to get at 6 in the morning, having had very little sleep the day before.
Yeah,
if you're flying.
So actually, there was a competition for talent, which there still is, and so in order to pay for that talent, the salaries went up, and also to kind of compensate all the people that stayed in the aviation business during COVID but didn't get any or limited salary increases. They were, say, rewarded. No, they were given a much higher salary compensation post-COVID when business was booming again. And that has led to a tremendous increase in cost. And what is interesting is that if you look across some players, you can look at, okay, what is the revenue of a airline or an airline group per employee? And there is a tremendous difference. Rule of thumb that I used was around 250,000. You see that some airlines are now at 200,000 euros per employee. And of course, the most efficient ones, the low cost carriers, where they generally tend to have north of 500,000 euros
Per employee.
Per employee. Yeah. And it also means that in a situation where traffic is up, demand is growing, planes are fuller, and so the activities that happen need to require considerable amounts of ground handling staff. That is leading then to higher cost. Pilots generally have been given considerable increases in salary, and obviously people that work in ground services also want that, and that's where some of the unrest comes from. In addition to this, of course, there's also a lot of everything else has also become expensive. So components and spare parts. So plane spare parts have been very scarce just because of the tremendous ramp up of the production that happened back half 22 and then into 23. And it's continued until this day.